When people think about German composers, there are always three people who come to mind: Johann Sebastian Bach, Ludwig van Beethoven and Johannes Brahms. But why is that? Why does their music sound so German? Is there a little German soldier in each and every one of us? Do you hear the predecessor of Adolf Hitler in German classical music?
Whoa, not so fast. Brahms, although considered conservative, was not a Nazi, nor can you hear any sense of Nazi Germany in his music. But why does his music still sound so German? Why is it so emotional, so deep and heavy? If you want to know why, I will explain it to you in this video. At the end, I want to compare 3 different recordings of Brahms' 4th Symphony, and we will take a look at the score together and see how different conductors approach this masterpiece.
What I realized when first learning Brahms is the following: it's very hard to read. Brahms takes out everything unnecessary out of the score, the harmonization is quite brief, few chords are displayed fully. Look at the beginning of the 4th Symphony. The only instruments that hold notes are the horn and the bass, and just this one note, the E, is not really enough to figure out the harmony. We have the violins with the melody, the other strings with the figuration of the harmony, and the offbeats in the woodwinds. So everyone plays, but everyone plays little. If you would take out even more, something would be missing. There wouldn't be the intensity required for Brahms.
The whole orchestra plays and everything is very heavy, and the different rhythms of the instruments are intertwined. If you play these two alone, it is already so intense. What Brahms does is very simple. The rhythms are not complicated at all. But what is genius is how he uses them to create this restless and stressful sound. Then you have the bassoon and the horn on 1 and 3 against the syncopes and the other instruments. There's so much going on against each other on different beats. And do you know how you call this? The art of combining different melodies. You could call it coordinated chaos, but this is also a counterpoint. And this counterpoint inside of a homophone music piece is to some degree what makes Brahms heavy. And at the same time, this is the straightforwardness, the directness that makes Brahms so German.
Here's another interesting part. He often plays with the orientation of the listener, where the first beat is in every bar. Not super often, but often enough to fool ourselves from time to time, so that we have to go back and listen closer again. This weird melody starts on the offbeat, but if you listen to it, it often is so intense that you would think it is the first beat. Some orchestras even make the note before so much longer that you would think it is on the beat. If Brahms actually wanted us to play like this, we don't know. There's one other part in the 4th movement directly at the end that has the same intention. This is called a hemiole. It's when you, for example, take 2 bars in a 3/4 time signature, and instead of having the emphasis on the first beat of every bar, you make 1 every 2 beats. So on 1 and 3 of the first bar, and on beat 2 in the second bar. Why? To screw with the listener's mind. Maybe more like to express uncertainty, or to slow down the feeling of the tempo without actually changing tempo.
Generally speaking, Brahms used a lot of the traditional forms like the sonata or the symphony. While being considered the continuation of Beethoven in terms of symphonic mastery, his traditional roots and structure certainly add to Brahms sounding German. Some people even jokingly talk about Brahms' 1st symphony as Beethoven's 10th one.
This is Riccardo Chailly at the beginning of the 1st movement. Simple, not any fancy stuff, but good. Now compare it to Carlos Kleiber. If you didn't hear the difference, compare the length of the first note. Kleiber makes it twice as long. It's nearly a half note. And this is not on the score. But what you can hear very well in the Kleiber recordings, that the first note in the full bar is a half note, and it should be. This is typically something where mistakes could be made, that an orchestra plays it too short. Why would Brahms write a half note? Why not a quarter note? Why not a dotted half note? Let's think about that. If you had a quarter note, you would probably play every motive very separated. With a dotted half note, everything would sound like a tenuto and laborious. No, Brahms wanted to keep the flow, a bit of a longer phrasing, but he still wanted to keep it a bit lighter. Sometimes, actually pretty much always, there's a certain logic behind what composers did. So it is beneficial to look at a score or music piece in general with the eyes of the composer and ask ourselves, what did Brahms wanted me to play here? Why has he done what he has done? Now let's compare Chailly and Bernstein. Listen to how loud the melody is compared to the other instruments.
Even if it doesn't sound like much, I think it's a major difference in balance. Chailly does not put the violins in the spotlight. You can hear them very well, but the rhythm of the orchestra and all the other small details, they also come out. The figuration in the strings, the horns and the woodwinds with the offbeats. I very much like the Chailly recording. From what I've heard so far, it's my favorite one.
Let's look a bit into the fourth movement. This is Chailly again. This is Bernstein. What did you notice? Exactly, one is way faster. Now, the piece is titled with Allegro energico e appassionato. Why is there such a different approach? First of all, there's no right or wrong. The faster one is a bit more on the elegant side, the slower one is a bit more rough. I do like both. But my guess is that Bernstein thinks more in quarter notes, so 180 is pretty fast, and Chailly thinks more in whole bars, so 69 is still pretty fast. Considering the whole movement, I prefer Chailly, but that doesn't matter. There's one other major difference between Chailly and Bernstein. Listen to the length of the last note.
Chailly plays in tempo and Bernstein celebrates the last note. Of course, the note is a bit longer because of the slower tempo, but even if you count, the note is longer than it is written in the score. Again, there's no right or wrong, but it does say a lot about the conductor and the culture of orchestras. Nowadays, conductors are not these untouchable dictators anymore. The hierarchies are a bit more flat. When you hear Chailly, you don't hear Chailly, you hear Brahms. And when you hear Bernstein, you do hear Bernstein. Is that a bad thing? I generally don't know. In the end, the best recording is the one that resonates the most with you.
If you enjoyed this video, you will enjoy this one as well, so click right here. Thanks for watching, and we see each other on the next one.